Is it a cherished tradition or a quirky pastime? The age-old practice of frog gigging continues to feed families, sparking both curiosity and debate. But here's where it gets controversial. While some see it as a vital survival skill, others question its place in modern society. Let's dive into this fascinating and often misunderstood activity. When Glenn and Candace Dedini uprooted their family from California to southern Indiana, their children's transformation from city kids to nature enthusiasts was nothing short of remarkable. Having never experienced snow before, Parker and Madison quickly became enamored with the swamps, streams, and forests surrounding their new home in Springville. Their willingness to embrace the unknown led Glenn to revisit a long-held curiosity: frog hunting, inspired by stories his grandfather shared about eating frogs in California. This summer, Glenn introduced his family to the ancient practice, joining a dwindling number of Americans who still possess the skills for amphibian hunting. While the tradition is fading in many parts of the country, it persists in pockets of the southeastern United States. The Indiana Department of Natural Resources, DNR, is playing a key role in keeping it alive, offering programs that teach Hoosiers how to hunt, prepare, and cook frogs, a skill set that's as much about survival as it is about cultural heritage. For the handful of kids who participate, including Parker and Madison, it's more than just a fun activity. It's a rite of passage. Frog gigging serves as a bridge between fishing and hunting larger game. And despite Candace's initial hesitation over the texture issue, it empowers young Hoosiers to contribute to their family's dinner table. And this is the part most people miss. It's not just about the food. It's about connecting with nature and understanding where our sustenance comes from. Frog legs on the menu. Frog hunting isn't a new phenomenon. Humans have been consuming these slimy amphibians since at least 100 AD. Chinese farmers raised frogs as livestock, Aztecs hunted them for food, and Catholic monks enjoyed them as a permissible alternative to red meat on restricted days. Yet, in recent centuries, frog legs have all but disappeared from most Western menus. They were a huge part of our historical diet, but their popularity plummeted over the last 150 years, explains Ethan Plumier, Assistant Property Manager of the Goose Pond Fish Wildlife Area. It wasn't until society progressed that frog consumption began to carry a stigma. But Plumier argues it's not the taste that's off-putting. He's a fan of air-fried frog legs, seasoned to perfection. Instead, he suggests it's the idea of sourcing food from murky, swampy waters that turns people away. While frog legs remain a delicacy in parts of Southeast Asia, France, and certain US regions, the art of amphibian hunting is fading. But in Indiana, efforts are underway to keep the tradition alive, reviving a lost art. Every summer, as the sun sets over the 9,098 acres of marsh and prairie at Goose Pond Fish and Wildlife Area in Linton, Hoosiers gather to learn the ancient craft of frog gigging. Plumier leads the charge, teaching participants about the history of frog consumption, amphibian identification, and state regulations. In Indiana, hunters can legally harvest up to 25 American bullfrogs or green frogs per day. Species Plumier ensures his students can distinguish from endangered varieties like the crawfish frog. Hunters can use bows, clubs, firearms, or even their hands, but Plumier focuses on teaching the use of gigs, long, multi-pronged spears resembling tridents. As dusk falls, groups disperse to various ponds and waterways, armed with headlamps, bug spray, and rubber boots. The hunting improves as darkness sets in, and the bag limit resets at midnight, allowing late-night hunters to collect up to 50 frogs. For the Dedinis, guidance from an expert like Plumier made all the difference. Their first solo attempt last summer was unsuccessful, but with Plumier's instruction, they not only caught frogs, but also prepared and enjoyed them as a family. It was a much more special night, Candice recalls. The kids actually caught frogs and got to eat what they had hunted. Under Plumia's tutelage, frog hunting seems straightforward. All you need is a license, a headlamp, a weapon, and access to wetlands. But finding frogs in the dark is no easy feat. Their small bodies blend seamlessly with pond scum and algae, requiring sharp eyes and patience. Plumia's headlamp helps stun the frogs momentarily, creating the perfect opportunity to spear them. If a frog isn't immediately killed, he demonstrates the humane way to end its life swiftly. A lesson in self-sufficiency. On one memorable night, 11-year-old Madison Dedini gigged the first frog, a small but hearty American bullfrog. Despite high water levels and a large group, the experience was rewarding, according to Charles Noble, who drove 2 hours with his daughter Kayla to participate. It's an opportunity to practice humane harvesting, Noble reflects. Taking another creature's life is never easy, but it's important to honor that moment. For the Dedinis, frog gigging is a step toward self-sufficiency. After a mosquito-filled evening, they returned home with 8 frogs, which Candice and Glenn cleaned and prepared. It's gross but easy, Candice jokes about skinning the frogs. They marinated the legs in milk, coated them in flour, and fried them for lunch. The kids loved them, she says. They ate every last one. Having moved from the West Coast, the Dedinis see frog gigging as an introduction to Midwest living. Starting with fishing and frog hunting, Glenn plans to take Parker deer hunting next, another skill the DNR teaches through its programs. For Candice, hunting is about teaching her children where their food comes from and fostering self-reliance. It's rewarding to see them work hard to catch their food and then enjoy the fruits of their labor, she says. We want them to know that food doesn't always come from a grocery store. But here's the question. Is frog gigging a valuable tradition worth preserving, or is it an outdated practice that no longer fits our modern world? Share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective.